That the clubs have agreed a deal, but he hasn't signed for us yet. So the moment when he signs for us, I can go into more detail. And the other one is, of course, the answer you always get from me.
Are you able to talk about that a little bit more broadly, though, and say what expectation you have of possibly getting hold of Mark
No. No, because he's not our player, and unfortunately he was the captain of the team where we lost against last Sunday. So no, if you want to have any talks about him, you should go to Palace, to Glasner, and ask him his opinion about him.
Well, obviously the focus is on the start of your title defence now. So how ready do you feel you and the squad are now going into the start of the season?
As ready as we can be. So I think I've emphasised last week on the fact that we've lost 3 or 4 starters, and unfortunately Ryan Gravenberg was not able to play last week and is not able to play this week. So that means that if you exclude the goalkeeper from the 10 outfield positions, 5 were different than the main starters we had last season. And if you then look the quality we bring on the ball, I'm very happy with that. Without the ball, it's 8 out of 10 times, also very good. But the aim at this club is not 8 out of 10 times, it's 10 out of 10 times. And that is the fine-tuning we still need to find defensively. And that went in pre-season one time better than the other one. Up against Bilbao, I was really pleased with our defensive performance, because we didn't give away any chance at all, I think, out of open play. But we did concede 2 set pieces. Against Palace, we conceded the main chances we conceded were when we lost the ball ourselves. So it's been ups and downs, where the downs were not so low. But I think there is the main part for us still to improve, which is normal. I think for everyone in pre-season, it's normal that there's still room for improvement, let alone if we not only lost 3 or 4 starters, I think we've lost 5 to 6 players that played quite a lot of minutes for us last season. And we brought in 4 new ones, so then it's normal that there's a little bit of adaptations, but we are definitely ready for the league to start.
Taking all that into account, given what you achieved last season and how difficult it is to go back-to-back with Premier League titles, what are your expectations for the season?
Yeah, but the reason why that is so difficult lays mainly in the fact there are so many competitors that can also win the league over here. So to win it once is already very special, let alone if you can win it twice in 3, 4, 5 years, or as we did twice in 5 years, and City did even better than us in the last few years. So that's unbelievable if you're able to do this in this league. And probably this year it's going to be harder than every year before, because every team brings in new players, but our main competitors definitely did as well.
Arne, in that regard, obviously, this time last year you had a huge challenge ahead of you with coming to a new league, starting at a new club, replacing Jurgen Klopp, everything that went with it. Is this season, in your mind, even personally for you, an even bigger challenge than this time last year?
No, you forget to mention that you take over a team and you only have 2 weeks to prepare, because there was a Euros and a Copa America. I think every season has its own challenges. So last season it were the challenges you were just talking about. This season the challenge is that we've lost many starters, and we we've brought in very good and talented players again as well. And the challenge is always not only yourself but also the teams you face. Now we're starting with Bournemouth, which was last season probably the most intense team in the league. And I mean in terms of running, and also in their playing style, but that goes hand in hand. And then afterwards is Newcastle and Arsenal, so that sums up this league, I think, and the challenge we have.
What do you expect from Bournemouth on Friday?
What I just said, intense. They made it really difficult for us last season. We beat them 3-0, where you feel like, what is he talking about difficult? But if you look at the game, they had the first big chance of the game. They scored a goal, which was fractionally offside. And then we 3 times, I wouldn't say counter-attacked them, but we were very fast in moving the ball from back to forward. And all of a sudden at halftime we were 3-0 up. And then I thought, wow, which I always thought when I was playing manager in Holland, this is going to be 4-5-6-0. But the mentality Bournemouth showed in the second half, they just kept on going. and that's the mentality they had throughout the whole season afterwards as well. So they also lost some players. They also brought in good new ones, as they've shown in the last few years, that they can always bring in good new players. So, and away it was even more difficult for us. So, very good team, good manager, and a challenge for us on Friday. But looking forward to it, because play an evening game at Anfield is something everyone is looking forward to, I think.
Hi there, Arne. Your defensive record last season was absolutely incredible. In the pre-season so far, I know you haven't been particularly happy with some elements of it. How do you resolve those issues when you're looking for that defensive solidity in front of your back four, when you're going to be without again the best defensive midfielder in the country?
Yeah, and don't forget we missed out McAllister as well, the last part of last season, and he hardly wasn't able to play in our pre-season. Only now recently he's played a few games, played a few minutes. But it's not that I'm not happy about certain parts. I'm telling you just a second ago that the standard here is 10 out of 10. So it's not one or two things we don't do well. No, in general we do all well, but well is not good enough. And there we have to go one step up in certain aspects, not in all aspects, in certain aspects. And then there's also something like I said, against Bilbao, we were really good defensively, but conceded 2 set pieces. And the games before, we also had mixed teams. So then you can also accept a little bit better that maybe timings between players were not as good as when you play the starters that has played so many times together. So there are reasons for it. Like I just said, mixed teams, new players coming in, Virgil being sick against Bilbao, Alisson not being there, Maka being injured, Ryan not able to play, and new players brought in. But all of this is definitely not an excuse when we start the league Friday, because we will 100% be ready on Friday.
Integrating new players into the Liverpool way of doing things is all part and parcel of pre-season and early season as well. And a lot to like about Jeremy Frimpong, what we've seen of him so far, played really well at Wembley in parts, but he's a different type of fullback to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a complete one-off, and a different type of fullback to Conor Bradley. And do you have to sort of try and make sure that somebody as adventurous as Frimpong is with his dribbling, that he doesn't impinge on Mo Salah's sort of ability to get into those key areas and kind of new to his effectiveness?
In my opinion, Jeremy and Conor Bradley are similar types, by the way. Although Jeremy is maybe better in the 1v1s than Conor is. But I think Jeremy and Conor can both attribute to Mo's outputs, because if you play against these two, you know you have to be aware of these two as well. So it normally gives Mo even more space to get the 1v1s, because if we isolate Jeremy in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team, and if we isolate Mo in a 1v1, it's difficult for the other team as well. So where maybe last season they could give a little bit of more help because Trent was a little bit more behind the ball, which was also dangerous because when Mo brought it back, Trent could deliver one of his famous crosses. So it's different types, but I think both types, and Trent proved it together with Mo. Trent brought the best out of Mo, and I think that that's the same thing is going to happen with Conor and Jeremy, with Mo in that regard.
Thank you.
Sky Germany. Hi Arne. Talking about Florian, still a young guy, first time away from home, one of the biggest clubs in the world. That enormous transfer fee on his back. How's he handling all that on and off the pitch?
Yeah, he might be young, but he already won a lot. So I don't think factually we can see him as a young player, but in terms of his experience that he's already having, I don't see him as a young player. He won the league in Germany, won the cup, played for his country numerous times. And apart from that, his mentality is maybe his biggest strength, and that says a lot, because if you see him play, you're like, are you serious? Because he's so creative, but how mentally strong he is, and he doesn't get distracted at all by a transfer fee or anything else. So I think good players always find a way to play well in good teams, and he is a good player and he plays in a good team.
Does he need any help of yours?
Yeah, he does, like all the others. But we have a very good player care department, so I'm not looking for houses together with him or these kind of things. But on the pitch and on the training ground and in videos, he needs help for him to understand the way we want to play. That's not 180 degrees different than Xabi Alonso. The system is different, but we want to be intense. Xabi Alonso wanted to be intense. He liked to dominate the possession. Xabi would try to bring him in positions we want to try to bring him in. So a lot of things are the same for him. But it's true, he has to adjust to England, to the league, to the intensity, and to his new teammates as well. But I think if you saw the games, his adjustment went quite well. Better than even expected, and we already expected a lot.
Last week, you're not got him this week. You just have a certain set of skills that maybe other players in the team don't have. So how did you miss him last week in defensive parts of the game? And how do you sort of compensate for that and not being here this week as well?
No, I think last Sunday the chances we conceded were mainly because 3 times we lost the ball very simple in our midfield and they could counter-attack us. Yeah, you could say Ryan is always taking really good care of the ball over there, but players, Ryan or anyone else in our team, can lose the ball. So in that sense, I'm not sure how much we missed him last Sunday, but it's clear that Ryan has had a big impact on us last season. It's quite, now it's not funny, but I can find another word that probably everybody's forgotten how he got his suspension. He got 2 yellow cards, the first one for a dive. Now there's one team in the league that is, in my opinion, by far the most honest team when they play. I sometimes blame them that they never try to make from a foul a little bit more, like Cody in the 2-2 we conceded against Palace. He got a push in his back, but he was far too clean. So if there's one team in the league that is very clean and never dives and never time delays and all these kind of things, then it's us. And we have a suspension now for a player diving where he got his first yellow card for. But yeah, I've said many times that probably the midfield might even be our strongest line when it comes to the bodies we have. Unfortunately, Maka had a bit of a different pre-season than we would like him to have, but he's back fit now. So I still have a choice to make in midfield, even if Ryan is not there.
On that point then, do you think your team needs to be a bit more streetwise, especially this season, defending champions, in terms of how you approach the game? Say you're too honest, but do they need to sort of be a bit more streetwise?
No, I think, maybe for me to use the right words in English, you can never be too honest, but it's clear that I saw this week Fenerbahce Feyenoord, and I saw a lot of moments where players were really smart and these kind of things should be used them, yes or no. I'm not too sure. For me, the best game last season that I've been part of was Paris Saint-Germain against us, especially our home game. I like that a little bit more than the away game, by the way. But that was also so high intensity because both teams were just there to play and not to try to pretend as if a foul was more or time delaying or whatever. So I'm also proud of the fact of who we are, and we won the league last season by the team we were. So let us just stay who we are. But sometimes I think it was a great moment also in the game against Palace, and that is, if I talk to a referee, I do talk about that as well, to the fourth official. Florian, they hold him clearly on the midfield, but he was so fair that he didn't fall over. And the referee said, yeah, if you don't fall, I'm not going to give you a free kick, which is a little bit weird. And a fraction later, they fell down in a moment which wasn't even a foul, and the referee feels, oh, he fell down, so it probably is a foul. So unless we had much more ball possession than Palace, but we made 13 fouls and they made 5 fouls. And that tells you also something about who we are. And I'm not saying Palace is different than us. That not be the headline. But that we are a very fair team. I think that's clear, and maybe that's also the reason why we won the league. So why change something if things went well?
Last one, Mo, please.
Hi, Arne. You've spoken about the midfield and the changes there over the pre-season without McAllister and obviously Foyt coming in. That's seen Dom Szoboszlai come a little bit deeper. We saw a little bit of that towards the end of last season at Brighton. How do you feel like he's adapted to this role? What things do you like? What things do you think he still needs to work on?
I think he can play both roles really good, and he has his quality in both roles and thinks he can improve in both roles. So I think what stands out with Dominic is the way he can press. So I don't think there are many midfielders in the world that you can find that are better in the intensity he can press with. But if he's at 10, I think the improvement he can make is playing in between the lines, finding the balls over there and getting not the end product in goals, but more the through balls. And if he's playing behind the ball, I think that's not new for him, but he hasn't played there a lot last season. So sometimes, you need to adjust to your teammates and in your positioning. But I think he's had a really good pre-season. He didn't play his best game against Palace, but for the rest, he had a very good pre-season.
I imagine he must be one of the players in the squad most pleased to see Joe Gomez come back as well, because it means he's less likely to be a backup right back for this next game. Is Joe ready to be in the squad for Friday?
I don't think if one has to do with the other. I'm not sure about that. But Joe, I have to make a decision on that. I think he only trained twice now, missed quite a lot in pre-season. But if you looked at our bench against Palace, I think there were 3 players that were 18 years old or younger. If Ben Doak is or is Ben 19 already? 19. Okay, so 19, 20 years or younger. So there is a possibility that Joe might be on the bench, but I have to look at the numbers and who we're going to take.